Ventilation. The correct breathing techniques will allow you to attain longer freediving times with ease and in a completely natural way. Using an analogy, we could say that our body is similar to a car, while our free dives are comparable to the time we spend between one stop at the gas station and the next, or rather between one breath and another. How can we save fuel and lengthen the time between stops? The first thing to do is certainly to use a larger tank that allows for greater autonomy. The free diver's tank is the lungs. We will therefore have to learn how to use them to the maximum. A second condition that contributes significantly to the fuel consumption of a car is the type of terrain the car is travelling on. Asphalt, sand, uphill or downhill, which for the freediver becomes calm or rough sea, cold or warm water, contrary or favourable currents, etc. Also in this case, we need to learn how to adapt so as to better cope with the weather and sea conditions. Finally, the thing that influences the fuel consumption of a car the most is the driver's style of driving. Sporty, calm, distracted, which for the freediver can be interpreted as rapid, relaxed or uncoordinated movements. This aspect is certainly the one that will influence our autonomy the most. Therefore, if our aim is to increase our autonomy, it becomes clear how important it is to save fuel by learning to drive well and not just fill the tank to the top. Our body and our cells need energy to function, and this energy is produced by the oxygen contained in the air we breathe. The more our muscles work, running, moving, lifting weights or finning, the faster they consume the available oxygen supply, and the greater the production of CO2, which is the waste gas produced by the metabolism of oxygen. For this reason, when we do physical activities, we feel the need to breathe more often and with more force, the classic breathlessness. In fact, we must feed our system with a greater amount of oxygen. In order to improve your freediving performances, it is necessary to learn how to increase gas exchange and make the most of your lung capacity. The lungs, contained within the ribcage, are surrounded by muscular bands that are used to expand them, inhalation, or compress them, exhalation. The lungs do not move by themselves, but follow the contractions and the relaxation of the respiratory muscles around them. The main muscle groups used for breathing are the diaphragm, the abdominals, and the rib muscles. The diaphragm is a circular muscle attached to the base of the ribcage that divides the lung area above from the abdominal area below. Its contraction towards the abdominal area creates an expansion of the lower part of the lungs, or an inspiration, diaphragmatic. If we wanted to quantify the volume of air moved by the diaphragm, we can say, simplifying, that it corresponds to about 60% of the maximum. The abdominals are composed of different muscle groups located at the level of the abdomen, attached to lower ribs, top, and pelvis lower down. For respiratory purposes, the abdominals can be defined as muscles antagonistic to the diaphragm. Their voluntary or involuntary contraction, in fact, physically prevent the correct downwards movement of the diaphragm. When using the diaphragm to inhale, the abdominal muscles should be as relaxed and decontracted as possible. The intercostal muscles are also composed of different bands all around and between the ribs. The contraction of the intercostal muscles creates an expansion of the upper part of the lungs contained in the ribcage, or rather, a thoracic inspiration. Their consequent relaxation creates a slow but constant deflation of the chest with a thoracic expiration. If we want to quantify the volume of air moved by the intercostal muscles, we can say that it is about 30% of the maximum. Your PSS instructor will show you the breathing and relaxation exercises to develop to improve your freediving performance.